All right, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Market Parts, the show that tells you and gives you and equips you with all the information that you want to have, particularly when it comes to business, when it comes to investment. But today we want to switch gears and talk about the future of human resource for companies and also for individuals looking for employment. I mean, it's the beginning of the year, and you know, some of these decisions have to be made early in the year. And of course, with me in studio today, we have Emmanuel Okeleji, who is the CEO Seamlesshr. Emmanuel, so good to see you again.
Thank you. It's very, very nice to see you again.
All right, so we are living in an era where AI is at the center of everything. We initially had this revolution where there was a lot of mechanization of jobs, but now we're moving into a lot of incorporation of AI into our daily activities, be it as a company or even for different institutions. And I just want to know, from where you sit, when you look at the future of human resource, where are we heading?
So thanks again for having me. Like I said, it's very good to see you. So there are two sides I look at that from. There is the work we do at Seamlesshr, which is to help businesses automate the management of their most important resource. In this case, their human resource, and everything from hiring to onboarding to HR information systems to payroll, performance management, time and attendance, leave management, stuff like that. AI helps do that significantly better. Yeah. Helps just the same way the internet helps to optimize anything. Communication, you know, HR management is what we leverage. Seamlessr is web-based. AI is bringing a new level of versatility to those platforms. So whether it's to help you hire better, faster, target people right, the right talent, whether to help you set the right salaries and future-proof your company's reward system, because we can predict better right now where the world is headed. Whether it's to help your employees familiarize themselves with policies in the organization and have conversational engagement with AI on the HR system. All those things is going to catalyze and improve the delivery of HR systems. On the other hand, the conversations which I know you will still ask me, so I might push my answer to them, is how does AI affect, you know, the labor force? Exactly. Both positively and negatively. On the positive side, I think that it is going to make 50-man companies work like 500-man companies. And no, tell me one company that does not want to be more productive. So it's going to, well utilized, AI is going to help companies to be significantly more productive. Just like the internet, for instance, helps companies to be more productive, or electricity helps the companies to be more productive. You should look at AI like the internet or electricity, something that is embedded in multiple things and just increases productivity. Yeah,
and also, so just looking, even as we speak about the future of human resource, looking at the next 5 years in terms of skills, what kind of skills are going to be valuable for the future workplace?
So you know, I really like the electricity and internet example. So if you think about it, like if there was someone today who doesn't know how to use a computer, or someone who doesn't know how to use the internet, you would imagine that that person would not be as competitive as they should be in today's workplace. The same way, artificial intelligence has come to stay. This is not a fad that is going to go away. This has come to stay. And so in the next 5 years, it will be important to be able to use AI agents, to be able to use them very well. And I don't think that's complex. I don't think, I mean, for instance, using the internet does not require significant training. Anybody can, you know, log onto a computer and all of that. So I think that but of course we have grandparents, older folks who never really challenged themselves to use the internet. That's the reason why they're not using it. And so young people who are working, everybody really, should challenge themselves to understand how AI works on the consumption level of it. Like, there are many wires and cables behind the internet that you don't really need to care about, but the front end of it, everyone is going to need to be able to use those tools very well in the near future.
All right, because I remember from our last conversation, one of the things that was happening then is a hybrid kind of work environment where we had just come from a pandemic, and of course businesses were still recovering, and of course just looking at the role of technology and the vulnerability that then that introduces to the workforce. How do companies prepare and make sure that you're not exposed?
Exposed to
to this vulnerability that comes with technology and AI?
So, I mean, there are a number of risks that anything that, you know, it's like sitting on a chair has its risks, right?
Yeah.
The number of risks that anything comes with. And with artificial intelligence, I think the first thing that companies have to be careful about is missing out on artificial intelligence. Africa is already the least productive continent in the world, unfortunately. And if the rest of the world adopts AI faster than us, we'll fall behind. You know, that's, I think, is the first risk that you should think about. Like, we must be on this train, because our competitors elsewhere will move faster than us because they now have this extra superpower that we're not tapping into. The second is, you've talked about even just data integrity, data security, and all of those kind of things. I think companies need to be more conscious about that. And you know, we can have an extended 30 minutes conversation on that, but companies need to be more conscious about that, but also about capturing their data in such a way that artificial intelligence can consume it. So for instance, if you record your payroll on paper, or your leave, you know, schedules on paper or on Excel, it's more difficult for AI to make sense of that. Whereas if you use Seamlesshr, then you already created a layer that AI can then sit on and help optimize your organization. So organizations shouldn't miss out on that sort of us race for maximizing AI for the optimization of productivity in companies.
So you've had operations in Kenya for the last give or take 4 years thereabout, and one of the things that I would want you to help me understand is within your interaction with different companies, what are some of the gaps that you have seen that you think or you feel technology would have solved?
Yeah, so with our interactions, first of all, I think across Africa, Kenya certainly punches above its weight with technology. What I mean by that is data is just released for the location with the highest investment in tech in 2024. Yeah. And Kenya beat everybody else, even countries that have 4 times Kenyan population. So which is great. I think that one of the best places on earth to do technology is right here in Nairobi and greater Kenya. So Kenyan companies are pretty more advanced than, you know, we're in about 20 countries. So we look in Africa, 20 countries in Africa. So we get around a fair bit, and Kenya is way above, heads and shoulders above the rest. But that doesn't mean that we've got everything right. Yeah. You know, there's still work to be done. I mean, our space is HR technology. There's still work to be done in digitizing and automating. We still find that there are many companies who are still stuck to manual systems. We still find that companies that are still using multiple systems that are not well integrated. The advantage we have in Seamless, for instance, is that one suite that is actually truly seamless and does the end-to-end of HR. And that positioning actually helps companies to optimize better because the systems are all seamlessly. I mean, it doesn't get more seamless than seamless. Yeah. And then you can then easily layer things like artificial intelligence on that because all your data is in one place talking to each other seamlessly. All
right. So again, let's talk about the role of partnership. Just recently, one of the things that we have seen is you have received a 9 million funding that is from both the Gates Foundation and Helios Digital Ventures. And I just want to know, when you look at such massive capital injection, where then do you channel these investments to? And what are some of the things, some of the advancement in technology that you would say this kind of capital should be channeled to this? And also, what is the criteria in distributing these investments?
Yes, thank you. So we announced, I believe just yesterday, about the $9 million Series A extension we just raised from Helios Digital Ventures and the Gates Foundation. And that sort of brings our total tally of fundraising at this point to about $22 million. And I think that that's a great, I see it as a responsibility really, that we've been given a responsibility to build the HR platform for our continent. Seamless is by far the most advanced, the most well-funded HR software company looking at Africa. So we take that as a responsibility. If we fail in our mission, we rob our people of the opportunity to build their own technology to solve their own problems. And one of those problems that we're now solving, because we're focused on our people, is the connection of financing with HR. And a lot of the money, and people ask me why is Gates Foundation investing in an HR company? They actually are investing in us because of this connection between financing and HR. And how that works is that because we pay salaries, because process salaries and we know the employers and the employees, we're able to expose employees to responsible credit where they use their employment as a collateral to get credit in ways that have never been done before. So the speed with which they can get it, the amount of credit they can qualify for, because we have access to their employment data and they use our system for their HR. And we are also, the payment of salaries happen on our platform, so deduction is automated, all of that. So that puts us in a position. Today we have hundreds of thousands of people on our platform across the continent that we can then help these working people to use their employment as a collateral to have access to very responsible credit that is well priced. And that performs well even for the lenders who lend on our platform. So we're looking at like tea farmers, manufacturing farmers, people working in the security industry, low-income earners that banks will probably not even know, and they can't take loans from banks and they are victims of loan sharks. Yeah. Those kind of folks, because we now have all this data, we'll be able to give them access to the same credit that the most credit-worthy people can have access to, or quote-unquote credit-worthy, as traditional institutions would tag them. Everybody now becomes more credit-worthy on our platform. We're also even able to advance credit to companies to help them meet payday, so that if you're a company where it's difficult for you to meet payday, a specific day every month, we're able to advance that financing to you to make sure that your employees get paid on a specific day every month, and that they can plan their lives better. So all of these things are the advantages of us focusing on our problems in Africa and leveraging the platforms we've built to be able to make life better for our people and our companies a lot more productive. An happy employee is a more productive employee.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Emmanuel, just speaking about productivity, when you look at our output as a continent, the output per capita is still quite low. So the question that comes to mind is, where is the gap in that? Yes. Why is it that we have a very youthful population, a very fairly educated population, but our output per capita is still very low compared to, let's say, Europe or the Americas?
I mean, there are many reasons for why that is so, many reasons. And I'll touch on probably two of them. One is there's a massive training gap, that skilling gap, because what productivity is your ability, how products are measured, is the ability to take raw materials and convert it to a finished goods and increase the value of something by the work that you add to it, right? And if you don't have skills, you can't increase the value of a thing because you cannot add much value to it, right? So at the base for Africa is we just have to invest more in training, right? But there are also macro issues, there are macroeconomic issues that make things difficult. So you get people who have actually been trained, but they cannot get a job because the economies are not working. Kenya probably even has it better than many African countries, right? Because it's like when you're in the middle of something, you think yours is the worst. You only need to just travel a few miles away and you see what people are dealing with. And the advantage we have been across the continent allows us to see that where there are macro issues that make things difficult for young Africans to excel and prosper. And you see a lot of people leaving the continent now and traveling around the world in search for prosperity. So we need to make our continent work better for its people.
Okay, and how do we do that, Emmanuel?
So I think that all of us have to get to work. I think that the solution is both on the side of the followers and the leaders. I'm not one of those people that says everything is government. I think that we all have to. Everybody needs, I talked about we in Seamless looking at the investments we've received as a responsibility. We're not just looking at it because we want to make more money, but we feel a sense of responsibility to do good by our customers, by our staff. I think we all need to start from that. Organizations, politicians, citizens have to ask ourselves, are we doing our best with the opportunities we've been given? So if someone carries the title of whatever political title, secretary, governor, whatever, we need to challenge ourselves because we get an opportunity to do these things for a short period of time. I mean, life happens, people come and go. We need to challenge ourselves to how can we do the best for our people? Yeah. If it's a CEO or an employee or whatever titles we carry. I think this might look very simplistic, but imagine if everybody did their best. Yeah. Africa will be better. So that's the short answer. We can have a TED talk on the detailed answer, but that's the short answer. Yeah. All
right, so when you look at, let's say, human resource being outsourced and other aspects of a business being outsourced, where do employment opportunities then, what is in the future for them? For anyone who's in the university or in a college somewhere trying to acquire these different skills, and knowing that, let's say I'm a HR practitioner and that is what I would want to do in the future. But then there's Emmanuel who's outsourcing HR services. So what does my career look like?
So it's very, very good question to actually help clarify, because we actually don't outsource HR. What we do is we build technology to help HR do their work better. So we don't replace HR people, we optimize them, we empower them to be able to do their work well, and take away nauseating work, things that waste their time. So instead of you going through 1,000 files, you type in a search field and results will come out. Instead of you going through thousands of CVs. So we just make their lives better. And I think the advice to be anybody's, I think, like I've said during this conversation, human resource is the most important resource. And if you want to do HR, I think that's an honorable role that is strategic to the success of any organization, because you're managing the most important resource. So I encourage people to pick up that line of study, and I encourage them to use Seamless HR.
All right, so just in closing, Emmanuel, why should I, as a CEO of a company or someone running another organization, why should I invest in having, let's say, Seamless come and install their technology in my company? Why should I automate my HR services? Yet there's a perception that the system that has been there has been working.
So a number of reasons, but I'll use a story. Amazon has 1.6 million employees. Walmart has 2.3 million employees. I went to some big company in some country in Africa, I leave unnamed, and they write time attendance on papers, on like notebooks. When people come, they write stuff on notebooks. If I had 1.6 million employees, how many notebooks do you think I would use to capture attendance in one day, right? You just wouldn't be able to scale. Amazon, if they depended on paper, they would never be able to have 1.6 million employees. So if you're living in 2025 and you're still doing manual stuff, no matter how good you're running, you could be better. Okay. And what technology does, what technology like ours does, is to make organizations better. In fact, our mission statement is to help organizations, institutions in Africa to optimize their resources so that they can become more productive and successful. So if you're not using Seamless HR, you might be running a successful company. But I say to you that your company can be more successful if you use automation like Seamless HR and in other parts of your business. So I'm on for automation. And little wonder that Africa, you will say, less than 3% of global productivity comes from Africa. We all need to do that work of making our organizations as optimal as they can be. And our work, 250 people who work in Seamless, go to work every day to try to build the best HR technology in Africa. That's comparable with anyone in the world, but built for Africans.
Does the lack of automation in some of these companies or some of these enterprises, does the lack of automation limit our growth?
Yes, certainly, 100% in every field of human endeavor today. I mean, my background is in medicine, and you can contrast the health outcomes in systems that leverage technology and systems that don't leverage technology. It's like, it's night and day.
Okay, I think that's a good place to end it.
Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Emmanuel Okeleji, the CEO of Seamless HR, talking to us about the future of the workplace and the reason why you need to automate. And of course, for such conversations, we'll be here to bring you more details in the coming days and to have more insightful conversations like this only right here on Market Pulse.